And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that brutal OSC as we have returned with our second best of 3 of the group of the WardiTV Summer Bash, the WardiTV Summer Bash. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have our Croatian Protoss player, the Teal Protoss, representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Goblin. He's teal. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Chinese Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Weibo Gaming. It is Oliveira. Here we go. I'm going to be embracing our second series, our second match of the night. Again, shout out to TKL, is casting over in French, also covering these matches at the same time as we embrace the rest of this group. A lot of matches coming up ahead of us. Let's go. As it is a round-robin group stage. And again, we'll embrace trap soon. Don't worry, we'll get there. We'll get to trap. But now we do see Oliveira opening up with a more economic opener. It's going to be a single gas opener out of Oliveira, going for a faster expansion, going for a Rax expand, and the probe will dip in, and Goblin will confirm. So he does pose a threat, and is being a nuisance here to the SCV, forcing a second worker off the mineral line. Forcing some inefficiencies here out of Oliveira. Back at home, Goblin is going to be opening up. Just going gate, cyber expand, standard opener here out of Goblin. And again, Goblin has been looking very impressive as of late, especially in events like WTL, in events like Kung Fu Cup. It's been amazing to see Goblin really returning to competitive form and threatening some of these otherwise bigger players. Likewise, going to be delaying the CC for a moment, forcing down another SCV. Workers getting low, and again, Goblin does confirm the economic opener of Oliveira, and now it's on Goblin to hide this probe and to keep it hidden, to keep it safe against that Reaper. Speaking of, the Reaper is out, looking for that probe, checks the triangular third base first, rotating around, and the probe does dip back in, once again delaying the expansion, or at least attempting to. Does it tase away at the SCV? Oh, but the probe has arrived, the Reaper has arrived, Marine as well, and the probe is shut down. And behind this, we have quite a setup here, rushing into our factory in our second Rax. Second Rax already on the way. That's going to be a big delay here on the starport. A much more aggressive follow-up out of Oliveira. May have opened up economically, but the follow-up is aggression. And we may opt to throw down a third Rax as well before the starport to double down and to commit. Meanwhile, it's on a Goblin to piece this all together. He's going to be threatening that SCV, and he will not get... Oh my god, the juggling! The SCV dives into the CC. We'll save it. We'll preserve it. Does survive. Behind this is going to be a Twilight Council opener, not a Stargate. Going to be embracing Blink. And we have confirmation. There it is. A third Rax is on the way. Massive delay in the starports. We're going to be prioritizing Stim, prioritizing our Bio Army, prioritizing a force to move out. It's going to be a very strong timing on the horizon here for Oliveira. This could also be the beginnings of a 2-base all-in. Technically, you can still expand behind this. If you get a starport, you can still get a third CC. So we'll see how committed and how aggressive Oliveira does approach our game one. We shall see. Stim is on the horizon. That's going to be zoned away. The lock-on is barely broken. But alas, we re-lock on. The Adept does go down. Back at home. How many gates? That's a lot of gates. We have one gateway done. We have 3 more gates on the way. It's going to be 4-gate Blink out of Goblin. So a very aggressive follow-up here out of our Teal Protoss player. Embracing all these gateways, embracing a Blink. And that's going to be a great way to counteract the aggression of Oliveira, to slow down the army, to pick away at it, and to shut Oliveira down. But it will come down to the control, will come down to the initial engagement as well. That's a Prism is on the way, and Goblin is moving out. Now, when it comes to this build of choice here from Oliveira, again, he's going to be rushing into Stim, rushing into a bio composition. First tank is out. We have the tank here on the low ground. Soon to be a tank on the high ground as well. There we go. Second tank is on the way. Goblin likewise moving out again. Oliveira is going to be building up quite an army already. He's going to be quite secure against the aggression of the Blink Stalkers. As a result, Goblin shouldn't be able to quite push into the main and wreak havoc. But it's less about that and more about chipping away at the main army of Oliveira and slowing him down before he moves out across the map. Because again, this Stim timing is going to be brutal. So Goblin does go for his move out. Likewise, Oliveira getting ready to move out as well. No starport. Do we pull the boys with this? The answer is we do. Boys are being pulled. We're moving out across the map. We catch the tanks. One tank goes down. Second tank as well. Two tanks with two stalkers or three stalkers. A good trade here for Goblin. Oh, but the prison will fall. Yeah, nice stim there from Oliveira. Prison does go down, but without those tanks, Oliveira, he has to go back. Yeah, he pulls back the boys. Starport has begun, and Oliveira is forced into a longer game. Didn't really intend for this, but now has to, as he lost the backbone of his army. Again, there are no medevacs, so every stim does hurt. Every stim does slowly kill this army, and Oliveira has to back off. Behind this, Goblin expands. Goblin taking a third base, taking up into a Dark Shrine. I'm loving the use of the DTs here just because Oliveira's on two bases, Oliveira's committed, and right now, because of this game state, Oliveira, he wants to mule. He wants to mule his heart out, which means that many less scans available. Stalkers zip in. Don't quite commit. Goblin has to retreat for now. Just testing the waters, containing Oliveira. It's still possible for Oliveira to, at least in Goblin's mind, to pull the boys and commit to a second all-in. So Goblin has to keep eyes on this. Has to make sure that is not the case. Warfism has been rebuilt. Oh. So far, good control. Catching a Marine. Taking a bit of hull damage. But not losing anything yet. Likewise, third base getting up and running. Charge on the way. Dark Shrine now done. And here come those DTs. Dark Templar being morphed in. And do we have a scan? Oh, we have one better. We have a turret. We have a turret in the main base. We have a turret at the natural. Our mineral lines are safe. Oliveira playing careful here. Oliveira, he didn't scout anything, actually. He has no idea what's going on. But again, playing safe. Securing himself. Back up to 3 tanks. Moving out once again. As Oliveira moves out, DTs are willing to move in. And even though there's a turret, they can focus it down. Observer does confirm the move out. The boys are being pulled. It is a second all-in. If at first you pull the boys and it fails, try and try again. We pull the boys, Pappy. Back at home, what do we have to defend? We have a Colossus on the way. Stalkers are racing back. DTs do hit the main, but they gotta go. Time is of the essence here. DT engaging with the main army. Does force out one of the scans. Likewise, DT yet to pull the trigger in the main. Another DT waddles in. We have another scan. And turret's on the way. Third base goes down. And Oliveira snowballing out of control. Oliveira shuts down the third, pushing towards the natural. And there's almost nothing here. We have one Colossus. Just the one Colossus. And it looks like Goblin was just a little bit too greedy behind this, assuming that Oliveira had just backed up and teched up and set up for a longer game. We dive in the Colossus. Colossus goes down. The production as well. And there's almost nothing left. GG gets called. Oliveira takes game number 1. GG. Oliveira does take a lead here again. A very aggressive game here from Oliveira. Goblin initially did slow it down, but unfortunately was not quite ready for that second wave. And we will be getting ready for game number 2. Oh. We're getting ready for game 2. It's going to be taking place here on Alkione. Let's go. Getting ready for game 2. Goblin is up against the wall. I mean, hey, Oliveira is a world-class player, is favored to make it out of the group. We'll see if he can. We'll see if Goblin can bring him to the ace match. So getting ready for that second game. And again, unfortunately, again, the DTs weren't able to do much damage. We were holding on to scans. We had turrets ready as well. Follow-up tech was less than ideal, unfortunately, and now we're settling into game 2. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alkione, we have our Teal Protoss player representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Goblin. Looking to bounce back, looking to fight back here in game number 2, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. 1 game away from claiming the series, representing Weibo Gaming, the Chinese Terran. It is Oliveira. Again, no fear. Even though Oliveira's initial push in game 1 was delayed, even though he lost 2 tanks and was forced to back up, just double down. just rebuild the tanks and just pull the boys again. But he knows the secret of the Terran. Just pull the boys. But we'll keep an eye on him. We'll see if he goes for another aggressive build. It is possible. I'm not really fond of the idea of going for a 2-base all-in 2 games in a row. I'm sure Oliveira is going to mix things up. But we'll keep an eye on him. We'll keep an eye. Likewise, Goblin checking for proxies. Don't blame him. Oliveira known, I mean, he already showed us that he's willing to go for a 2-base all-in. So Goblin just securing himself. Making sure nothing is hidden before moving out across the map. Likewise, once again, single gas opener out of Oliveira, going for the CC. Most likely on the low ground. Could play a little bit safer on the high ground. The SCV does move down. And we will expand. CC won't be delayed for too long. As the probe will commence its harassment. Forcing out a second SCV. Is brought down. And the probe does continue. Reaper is on the way. We'll see if Goblin can keep this probe hidden. As it is going to be on the run. Likewise, Oliveira looking for that probe. Going to attempt to hunt it down. And back at home, Goblin likewise going for his own standard opener. It's going to be a gate cyber expand, just like the previous game. No proxies, no 2-gate opener, for example. Nothing crazy. Loving the probe there. Oh, the KDA charge! We knock it out! Oh my god, Oliveira, he's crazy! And it looks like we do not save the worker. Ay, ay, ay. But really smart play there out of Oliveira. And what just occurred is that Oliveira actually could not attack that probe. It was on hold position on that gas guy, sorry, on that steam vent even. Was on hold position. And was within range of the Zelnaga. But Oliveira with a KDA charge able to knock it out. And likewise hunt down this adept. Meanwhile, do you see what I see? That is a second Rax. Second Rax before Starport. So far it's looking like the same build. Yep, there it is. Third Rax on the way before that Starport production. Oh boy, things are looking quite similar to Game 1. So once again, Oliveira is going to be focusing on that stim timing. Tech Lab's on the way, building up towards stim, moving up towards, I imagine, 2 tanks, and then move out across the map. And we may, once again, pull the boys. So far, looks to be the same build. We'll see if Oliveira does deviate. Meanwhile, Goblin back at home, opening up Stargate instead. Interesting. Okay, so it's going to be a Stargate opener. I am a little bit concerned. Typically, Stargate openers are a little bit more vulnerable to early game aggression. They're amazing in a longer game, right? They give you map control, they shut down drop play, they allow you to expand and get into Colossus. But when it comes to 2-base all-ins, that's where Phoenixes can struggle a little bit more. I mean, they have potential, right? They can pick away at the mineral lines, they can pick away at reinforcements and catch a tank and catch medevacs and catch reinforcements. True. They can, but still very difficult to make use of. At the same time, it's Goblin we're talking about, right? He's Wardi's boy. Like, Phoenix, like he was born with a Phoenix in his hand. So if anyone can make use of these Phoenixes, I want to believe that Goblin can. Twilight Council's on the way. Phoenixes are amassing, soon to be moving out. Meanwhile, Oliveira building up that army. He's amassing his units. Have the initial eBay on the way for +1. Oliveira getting in position. Oliveira likewise with limited scouting information. So is Goblin. Both players playing a little bit in the dark. So we are building up more Phoenixes. And that is a Starport on the way. Interesting. If you recall, the initial move out from Oliveira in Game 1 was without a Starport. The Starport was thrown down after the first push was deflected. So Oliveira already taking up a little bit further, going for a later timing as he starts up +1 attack. So Oliveira is approaching this in a different way, is what I'm getting at. He is not being as aggressive as early on as Game 1. Meanwhile, Phoenixes move out. They will be able to get into the main. Catching a Marine, rest of the buyers in position. We hold on to the stim. Stim is done, but we don't want to waste it. As Oliveira is now aware of the Phoenix opener. And is moving out across the map. And here we go, some of the boys are being pulled. Not as many as previously. Just a couple of boys to repair, to support the main army. Likewise, Goblin is catching reinforcements, gets a Marine, gets a Marauder, and is slowing this down. Not bad. Catch a couple of stray units, but the main army is still moving out. That's still a lot of Terran. Back at home, what do we have? We have shield battery, sorry, pylon on the way. No shield battery at the third or at the natural. Uh-oh, we're vulnerable. We're exposed. This base is forfeit. And next is going to go down. Phoenix is trying to come in from behind, trying to get into that tank. Going for the SCVs. They get one. But the base will fall. We're pushing even further. And again, we spoke about this. This is the vulnerability that you have when you go for a Phoenix opener. Charge is done. But the Sim City is looking pretty good here. We do kite back. Tank does go down, but reinforcements are on the way. And so far, good use of that turret. Zealots will eventually clean this up. They shut down the tank. They shut down the bio. But the third base was killed. The third was killed. And remember, Oliveira, he was taking up a little bit further. We know we have +1 now kicking in after the fight does conclude. Vikings and medevac support as well. Curious who I do favor here as Oliveira throws down 2 more Raxes, not a third CC. Okay. Goblin double expanding. Makes sense. In this kind of game state, may as well double expand to try to catch back up. Phoenix is trying to catch reinforcements, trying to pick away, add to the production. And Goblin is teching. We have the Bay on the way. Forge, Temple Archives. We are taking up towards Archon, Storm, Colossus production. But I'll be honest, based on this kind of setup, it looks like Oliveira is setting up for another all-in. The longer this game goes on without a third CC, the more I'm concerned for Goblin. As we scan, Oliveira does confirm that Goblin is retaking the third. Is resaturating. At least the workers did survive. We may have lost the base, but we did save the workers. And the Oliveira, he's banking up. He's banking up, he's building up, and we're getting ready for our move out before the Colossus pop out. We are pushing. And there it is. We pull the boys. So we have a second all-in here from Oliveira, sending everything across the map. Oh boy, and can Goblin hold on here? I mean, we're gonna have one Colossus. We're gonna have one Colossus to defend. No shield battery. No shield battery, no overcharge. A little bit concerning. The Shade may have just caught a glimpse there of those SCVs. Charge-offs, they do commit. But they're gonna be shut down. The Zealots, they melt. They're being forced back. Boys being pulled away. We give up on the base. But the Colossus has arrived. And is it enough? That I'm not so sure about. Yeah, the Zealots, they just get shut down completely. We're sitting on top of the army again. No shield battery, no defensive position here whatsoever. The Colossus goes down, and Oliveira has broken the natural. And has broken Goblin. GG gets called, and Oliveira will take the 2-0. GG, well played. A very short best of 3 here. Oliveira going for very similar builds, both in game 1 and in game 2. All roads lead to Rome. All roads lead to 2 base all it. Just pull the boys. Unfortunately, Goblin, he wasn't quite ready, wasn't quite set up for it. Again, Goblin with the double expanding let us know that Goblin was getting ready for a longer game, was getting ready to try to recover and get into the mid game. That's why he invested into that second Nexus, or I should say into that 4th Nexus, a Nexus that didn't come into play, a Nexus that really didn't add any value. It was more of a waste of resources just because it was that much less to work with when it comes to an army and when it comes to our defenses. GG, well played. Goblin getting caught with his pants down a little bit there. Now we're getting ready for our next best of 3. We're getting ready for our next series here. It's going to be best of 3 between Lambo and Goblin.